This video breaks down how the Knicks rebuild has taken a major step forward this season. After winning 2 games in a row, the Knicks are now the 6th seed in the East, a far cry from when the Knicks started 4-18 under David Fizdale last year. The difference between Fizdale and Tom Thibodeau as head coach has been night and day, as Thibs has this young Knicks team playing physical, inspired defense that's reminiscent of the 90s Knicks. Most importantly, much of the Knicks' young core has taken a major step forward. One of the major ways to know if a rebuild is headed in the right direction is if young players are developing, and guys like RJ Barrett, Mitchell Robinson, and Kevin Knox have all gotten significantly better. Immanuel Quickly has also been a very pleasant surprise. He was drafted late in the first round, but he's become a crucial player for the Knicks off the bench. So let's break down all of this. Before we continue, please like the video and subscribe, as it really helps my channel grow. Now let's get started. First, let's talk about RJ Barrett. RJ has gotten much better this season in multiple areas of the game. He's averaging 17 points, 7 boards, and 3 assists per game on the season, which is a nice jump from his rookie year. RJ's shooting percentages are pretty low this season, but that was in large part due to the rough shooting slump he was in earlier. In the last 4 games, RJ has really broken out of that slump and taken his game to the next level. In the last 4, RJ is averaging 20 points, 7 boards, and 3 assists per game on 49% shooting from the field, 33% from 3, and 95% from the free throw line, which are all-star numbers. RJ may have been in a brutal slump, but he never stopped playing aggressive, constantly looking to attack the basket and taking good open shots in rhythm. That constant aggression has finally paid off, as RJ is finally starting to knock down his shots, and he's finishing on his drives to the rim at a high level. RJ has played great, but much credit has to be given to Thibodeau and the Knicks coaching staff because they've empowered RJ to keep shooting even when the shots aren't falling. A lot of young players tend to lose their confidence because they often see their minutes drop when they don't produce, but the Knicks coaching staff has encouraged RJ to keep taking good shots even when it's not falling. And even when RJ's shot wasn't hitting, he was still finding other ways to contribute to winning. For one thing, RJ has turned into a pretty good defender. His defense was up and down his first year, as it usually takes a while for first-year players to learn defensive schemes in the NBA. But this season, RJ Barrett is playing much better defense both on and off the ball. This is backed up by the numbers. To demonstrate, when Barrett is on the floor, the Knicks are giving up 103 points per 100 possessions. When he sits, that number rises to 112 per 100 possessions. This means that the Knicks are better by about 9 points per 100 possessions defensively when he's on the floor. Barrett's IQ on the defensive end has really gotten much better, and that combined with his good size and length at 6'7" with a 6'10" wingspan has turned him into a pretty good two-way player. RJ is also rebounding the ball extremely well, and his playmaking has also gotten better. RJ is turning into a pretty good all-around player, and if he keeps this up, it isn't unreasonable to think that he can make that all-star leap in a year or two, which bodes well for the Knicks rebuild. The next player I want to talk about is rookie sensation Immanuel Quickley. Quickley is arguably the steal of the draft. CBS gave the Knicks a D+ grade for taking Quickley with the 25th pick, but his play on the court is making them look like fools. Quickley was another guy who was in a rough shooting slump, but his play on the court has taken a major step forward. In his last 4 games, Quickley is averaging 17 points and 4 assists per game on 50% shooting from the field, 40% from 3, and 87% from the free throw line. Quickley is a very crafty player. He can get to the rim with ease thanks to his handle and quick first step, and he's a really strong finisher in the paint thanks to his floater game. He was struggling with it earlier this season, but his floater has become automatic to the point where he's shooting it from the free throw line and still knocking it down. His 3-point shot is also money, where he's really good at catch-and-shoot situations or knocking down pull-up threes coming off screens. What's also huge is that Quickley is extremely unselfish. When he attacks the basket, he's not just looking to score, as he's very adept at throwing lobs and finding open shooters and cutters. Overall, Quickley has become an amazing spark plug for the Knicks off the bench. Next, let's talk about Mitchell Robinson. Under Thibodeau, he's becoming one of the best defensive bigs in the league, as he's the anchor of a really good Knicks defense. Thanks to his size and length, he's really tough for driving players to score on. The main area where Mitch has gotten better is fouls. Last season, Mitch showed great defensive potential, but he was constantly in foul trouble, which is why he only played about 20 minutes a game. This season, Mitch has finally learned to use the rule of verticality to just go straight up with two hands and force the driving player into a difficult shot. As a result, his block average is down, but he's rarely ever in foul trouble, which is why he's playing 29 minutes a game this season. Offensively, he's continuing to finish his lobs and dunks at an extremely high rate. One area where he needs to get better is his shooting. Mitch has been hinting at taking three-pointers, but he really should learn to just shoot from 15 feet first. He's only shooting 47% from the free throw line, which is horrible. What I'm noticing is that Mitch's free throws are extremely flat, which is why he tends to miss right off the front of the iron. He needs to increase the arc on his shot so it can go in at a higher rate. Mitch still has room for improvement, but his hard work on the defensive end has been a huge part of the Knicks' success, and at this point, there's a good chance that Mitch will find himself making an all-defensive team. At just 22 years old, it looks like the Knicks may have landed their franchise center. Another key young player for the Knicks that has taken a major step forward has been Kevin Knox. Knox may not be as good as other players who were taken right after him, such as Michael Porter Jr., but he's turning into a solid player for the Knicks. He's currently shooting 44% from 3 on 4 attempts a game, which is an amazing percentage. When Kevin Knox is open in the corner, the shot is pretty much automatic. He's also gotten a lot better defensively. The last 2 seasons, Knox was a liability on that end of the floor, but his effort and awareness has really improved, making him a solid defender. The next step in Knox's development should be to expand his offensive game outside of three-point shooting. If he can learn to use the threat of his outside shot to get into the mid-range or all the way to the rim and score, that would make his offensive game a lot better. I'd also like to see Kevin Knox develop a strong handle for breaking down defenders and getting to the rim. He needs to expand his offensive game so he can become a really good second unit scorer, but overall, Knox is becoming a really solid player for the Knicks off their bench. The last guy I'm going to talk about is Julius Randle. Randle may not be considered a young player as he's a 7-year veteran, but he's still only 26 years old, which means that his prime could intersect some of the other young guys on this team. Randle has taken a major step forward for the Knicks as he's become an all-star level player. Randle is the hub of the Knicks offense. He's an extremely tough cover for the defense thanks to his strong mid-range game and inside game, and if you send help defense, Randle finds his open teammates. On the year, Randle is averaging 6.5 assists per game, which ranks 11th in the whole league, an outstanding mark. Randle has always been very talented, but his decision-making on the court was often questionable, but this year, his court vision has been much better, and he's using it to drop dimes to his teammates. And even when Randle doesn't have it going offensively, he still finds other ways to impact winning. Randle has been crashing the boards for the Knicks this year and playing really hard on the defensive end. In the win against Orlando, he only shot 4 of 18 from the field, but he still had a great impact, grabbing 17 boards, which contributed to the win. Thibodeau and the Knicks coaching staff have done an excellent job turning Randle into a winning player. So overall, each member of the young core has taken huge steps forward, but along with the player development, Thibodeau has also done a great job of establishing a strong defensive identity for this Knicks team. Anyone who watches the Knicks play knows that night in and night out, this team plays hard on the defensive end. The Knicks rank first in opponents' points per game, they rank first in defensive field goal percentage, and first in defensive three-point percentage. The Knicks also crash the glass hard, as they currently rank 9th in the league in total rebounds per game. The Knicks are really building an identity as a strong defensive team. In their last 2 wins, they put on a defensive clinic, holding the Boston Celtics to just 75 points, and then holding the Magic to just 84 points. Just about every team in today's league scores over 100 points per game, so holding their opponents to numbers like that is just incredible. Thibs' fingerprints are all over the Knicks, as he's turning them into a great defensive team, just like he did with the Chicago Bulls. Anyway guys, that's going to be the end of the video. The culture in New York has changed, as the Knicks are playing great defense, and much of the Knicks' young core has gotten a lot better. Even if the Knicks don't make the playoffs, you have to admit that their rebuild is headed in the right direction with all the things that have gone right this season. Are you pleased with how the Knicks have played this year? Tell me in the comments. Don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss a single upcoming video. Thanks for watching and enjoy the rest of your day.